You do something small. You snap at somebody, you avoid a text, or you put something off again. And instead of just moving on, you're now analyzing yourself. Then you're analyzing why you're analyzing it. And by the time you look up, the actual moment is gone. And you're still there, aware of every single layer of it, and still over-analyzing it at all. If that's you, and you're somebody who spends a lot of your time over-analyzing yourself and observing yourself from the side instead of living your life, you're not broken, and you're not alone in this. And that's what we're going to get into today. So how do you even get to this point? Initially, you're not really that aware. But then with time, you might get some glimpses of awareness here and there. There might be some moments that trigger you to notice something. There might be some situations that make you aware of some things or some patterns. And then at one moment, you reach something that I kind of call it hyper awareness or super awareness, where now you become aware of everything that is wrong with you. You see all the patterns, you see all the things that you need to address, you see all the stuff that you need to work on, the way you talk, the way you think, the way you look, every little mistake that you ever made and told yourself that you're going to fix. For me, it started very early. I was early teen, maybe even a bit earlier, but for sure it was early teens when I just became very aware of many things. Like in school, even though I was straight A student and I even went to the best high school in Latvia, I would always be very anxious about raising my hand, even if I knew that I knew the answer. I also didn't want to be seen, and I noticed that other kids didn't really seem to struggle with that. There were many, many situations that I would identify that it seemed like others don't really have issues with this, but I would feel very anxious, very insecure, very conscious about the way I would look, the way I would think, the way I would come across, to the point where I don't think I was actually in the moment anymore. I was in that kind of analysis paralysis in some ways. And on top of that, I always felt like everybody was judging me and seeing the parts of me that I was ashamed of, or I didn't want them to see. I literally had this belief that everybody saw everything that is wrong with me and they would be judging me for it. I started to avoid situations or experiences where I knew I would not come across good enough. So shame literally started to run my life. Even within the basketball, I started to wake up at 5 a.m. to go outside, do runs, do my own workouts that I was putting together. And I was doing 5 a.m. just because there was nobody out. So nobody could see me kind of running the way I was running, or see me train, or something like that, where like there was this deep level of shame. And that's a solution that I came up with, is to wake up super early when nobody's out. And also, if there was something that I would be invited to participate in, where there was a slight chance that I might lose or not win, I would not be doing it. Because like the moment I identify that there's like any chance of me failing or not coming across as good enough or competent, I was instantly not doing it. And then if you add a layer on top of this, where one is you are becoming aware of yourself, but now you also might become aware of everybody else and how good their lives are, how good they're doing, how confident they seem, how little shame they seem to have, to the point where now it can feed that negativity even more. The other thing with this awareness is that it's not just that you notice it. I think that the hardest thing about noticing and seeing it, especially the negatives, because a lot of times I think we get more focused on negatives than positives. We take positives for granted. Once you start to focus too much on these negatives and you start to see them and you start to see the list pile up, every time you see it or there's new thing that shows up, it's kind of like we have this sense that I now have to go and fix it now. So now if you have this list, and the more aware you become, the more things will actually pop up in your awareness, and the more you will start to have longer and longer list, the harder it actually going to be, because now it might feel like you're falling behind or you're failing because there's all these things that you need to fix in yourself. But it's not always the case that you need to fix everything straight away. Sometimes just being aware of it and sitting with it is enough. But we don't even do that. We jump straight to judgment or things that we need to fix, and like, what can I do and what can I add to my routine, to the point where now you have this full day of list of tasks that you need to take to fix yourself because of all the things that jumped in your awareness about yourself. So being mindful when this happens, and remember that awareness doesn't come with deadline. There's some things that you might need to see and be aware of literally for years before you feel ready or you are in a place where you can actually address them and work through them. I think another challenge with this negativity is that you're aware of everything that is wrong with you. So it's easier to be hard on yourself versus somebody else, because others, they don't show you everything that is like wrong about them or that are the negatives. So you naturally assume that others have it less. So with that, you can actually start to feed that sense of being harder on yourself because you start to compare yourself with others, and in comparison to others and what they have shared with you and what you're aware that they are going through or facing or the challenges that they have, you now start to feel that, oh, I'm doing worse. I'm less than, I'm not as good as them because of all of those things that you're aware of, but you're not ever aware of the full picture of anybody else but yourself. And that's why it's very hard to, first of all, put things in perspective, but also that's the reason why we shouldn't do that, because you can never really get the real picture. And also, I actually don't think it matters that much. Where is your pain, suffering, challenges in comparison to others? It's your journey to live, and that's why you need to trust it and not compare yourself to others and just focus on yourself instead. And your journey is not going to be a straight line. There will be ups, there will be downs, there will be challenges, there will be setbacks, where some days you might feel like you're progressing and you're moving forward, while in others you might feel like now you're failing and you're back at day one. And both of them are just parts of the same process, not proof that it's not working or that you're failing. It's a journey. So if there's one lesson that I want to leave you with, which took me way longer to learn than I would have wanted to, is that being aware of something or becoming aware of something doesn't mean that you now have to go and fix it. You don't have to fix everything you become aware of. You don't have to fix it right here, right now. Some things you just have to notice and sit with and allow them to be until you're ready to address them or look into them. And next time, when you catch yourself spiraling about this negative thing that you noticed, actually try to challenge yourself to find something positive. One good thing, something that you did right that day, even if it's tiny, especially if it's tiny.